Good morning, my dear students. So, today I am going to continue with chapter 8 of NCERT book, that is controlling. So, as I have already told you, that there are 5 major functions of management, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Controlling is the last function of management process and which is performed after all these 4 functions are performed, that is planning, organizing, staffing, and directing. Now I have already told you the meaning of controlling. So controlling is the process of taking steps to bring actual results and desired results closer to each other. So controlling brings back the management cycle back to planning function. And I've already discussed with you the different steps in controlling. I've discussed with you the importance of controlling, and I've already discussed with you the limitations of controlling. Now moving on to the next topic, as you can see in the video, that is relationship between planning and controlling. So there is a very close relationship between planning and controlling. Though this topic has been deleted from CBSE this year, only for this year, but still I'm going to give you a brief idea of the relationship between planning and controlling. Now I'm going to just cover this topic in a very brief way, so that because you don't have to do this topic, but just for your knowledge. Now first of all, interdependence between planning and controlling, that is planning is meaningless without controlling and controlling is blind without planning. And now what is the difference between planning and controlling? There is a difference between planning and controlling also, though they are interdependent on each other, because planning is meaningless without controlling and controlling is blind without planning. But still there is a difference between planning and controlling. Planning is looking ahead, whereas controlling is looking back, right? So this is the major difference, that planning is looking ahead and controlling is looking back. So planning is the first function and controlling is the last function of management, which is performed after the 4 functions of management, that is planning, organizing, staffing, and directing. So this is what the relationship is between planning and controlling. So this I'm just going to cover in briefly. I've just covered it briefly, so this is for your knowledge, but this topic has been deleted from the CBSE syllabus this year. Now moving on to the next part, which is a very important topic from examination point of view. Generally question comes from this topic, my dear students, so you have to cover this topic very thoroughly, and I'm going to cover this topic, that is controlling process, in very slowly, so that things are absolutely clear to you. As we have already discussed yesterday, that controlling process, as you can see in the video, involves 5 major steps. See, setting performance standards is the first step, then measurement of actual performance is the second step, then comparison of actual performance with standards is the third step, then analyzing deviations is the 4th step, and taking corrective actions is the 5th step. So I'm going to cover most probably 3 steps today. Let me see how much I can cover. I'm just going to cover 3 steps today, the first 3 steps of the controlling process, because I'm going to go very slow with this. And my dear students, this topic I am covering from Dr. R.K. Singla. Make sure that you cover this topic from Dr. R.K. Singla. You read this topic from NCERT also, but cover it from Dr. R.K. Singla, because it's given in a better way in that book. Now first of all, we will move with the first step, that is setting performance standards. Now the first step of controlling is to set the performance standards. Now what are standards? Standards are those criteria on the basis of which actual performance is measured. As I've already told you, that suppose a manager is working and he sets a standard for the workers. Suppose I have a manufacturing unit and I set a standard that okay, one worker has to produce 10 units in a day. So that is the standard which I have set, on the basis of which the actual performance is measured. So basically, standards are those criteria on the basis of which the actual performance is measured. They are the standards which tell individuals and departments about their destination, right? Now there are two types of standards, that is quantitative standards and next is qualitative standard. So first of all, we will do what are quantitative standards. Quantitative standards are those standards which are shown with the help of figures. For example, production of 10 units by a laborer in a day, total cost per unit comes up to 100 rupees, etc., which can be shown in figures. The standards which can be shown in figures, they are known as quantitative standards. Quantity which can be shown in figures, that is quantitative standards. Now qualitative standards are the standards which cannot be shown in the form of figures. For example, increasing the morale of the employees. Measuring the morale of the employees is a standard of qualitative nature. It cannot be measured directly. In order to measure it, the labor turnover rate, absenteeism rate, etc., dispute rate, etc., have got to be taken into consideration. So quantitative, which can be shown in terms of figures, like a laborer has to manufacture 10 units in a day, or he has the cost of per unit comes to 100 rupees, that is, it can be expressed in terms of figures. Qualitative, which cannot be expressed in terms of figures, for example, increasing the morale of the employees. How will you set standards? By indirectly, by seeing the absenteeism rate, by seeing the turnover rate, labor turnover rate, dispute rate, etc. So I hope these two types of standards are absolutely clear to you. Now let's move on to the factors which have to be considered while deciding standards. This I have already discussed with you, that standards which are set should be such which are reasonable, they should be measurable, and they should be simple and clear. Otherwise, if you set irrelevant standards, they will be of no use for the organization. So factors to be considered while deciding standards. First, standards should be reasonable and they should be easy to achieve and not very tough to achieve. Then standards should be measurable. Third, standards should be flexible so that changes can be introduced according to the changing situations. And standards should be simple and clear so that people for whom they are laid down should understand them easily. Then they should have deviation tolerance limits which should be clarified while setting standards. For example, there is no cause of worry if the production of 1950 units is done instead of 2000 units, which is to be achieved. By doing so, unnecessary corrective action shall not be taken on such an insignificant deviation. Now suppose I set a standard that yes, you have to produce 2000 units in a day, and a worker is producing 1950, that is 1950 units in a day. So that means there is just deviation of 50 units, which is not much. So no need to take any corrective action. So standards should be such which should have deviation tolerance limits. So this is all about setting performance standards. Now moving on to the next step in the controlling process, that is measurement of actual performance. Measurement of actual performance is the second step in the process of controlling. Now the measurement of actual performance is done on the basis of predetermined standards. The measurement of actual performance tells the manager whether the work has been done according to the plan or not. Now, in an important question regarding the measurement of actual work that arises is whether the measurement of performance can be done only after the actual work is completed, or it can be measured during the course of its completion. So there are two things how the actual performance is to be judged: whether it is to be measured only after the completion of the whole work, or whether the actual performance can be measured in the course of its completion. Now, if I give this reply, firstly, when the work is in progress, it should be ascertained through the medium of supervision whether the work is progressing at a good speed or not, so that the cause of negative results, corrective action can be initiated immediately. Secondly, when the whole work has been completed, in this case, corrective action in case of negative result can be taken for future work, which means that the loss that has been caused cannot be compensated. Now, what does this mean? If the actual performance is measured when the work has been done, then the reasons for the deviation can be measured and corrective steps can be taken immediately. Now, if the organization decides that the actual performance will be measured only after the completion of the work, then of course the corrective actions will be taken after the completion of the work, and then the corrective actions will be taken for the future work, and whatever there is a loss, the loss will be as it is. So this is the second step in the controlling process. So today I have discussed with you two steps, that is setting performance standards, and second is measurement of actual performance. Now we will move on to the next step, that is comparison of actual performance with standards. Now what is the actual performance? Now, as I have already told you, there can be negative deviation, there can be positive deviation, or there can be no deviation. Now, for example, I will give you a good example from this book. Now, if you see this example from the book, can you see the example? Now, what is the standardized production? That is 10 units. Now, what is the actual production? 8 units, 10 units and 12 units. In this 8 units, the result is the actual production is less than the standard production. That means negative deviation. Can you see? Because less units, so negative deviation. Now in this 10 units is the standard and 10 units is the actual performance. So there is zero deviation. And then we have 12 units, which means that there is zero deviation, we will say, that is, or you can say there is positive deviation, that is +2. Now positive deviation means that the actual performance is more than the standard work. So hence we don't need to do anything about this. But for negative deviation, we need to analyze the deviations, why there is deviation, why there is a difference between the standard performance and the actual performance, and what are the corrective actions which should be taken to help to get on to a point of zero deviation, right? So this is comparison of actual performance with standard. So we have done three steps in the process of controlling, that is setting performance standards, measurement of actual performance, and comparison of actual performance with standards. So my dear students, watch the video very carefully, because this topic is very, very important from board examination point of view. Sure shot, a question from this topic will come in your exams. Thank you and have a blissful day ahead.